I thought I had a perfect marriage, until I found love messages between my husband and my sister-in-law. I'm writing this at 2 a.m. in a hotel room that smells like disinfectant and someone else's cigarette smoke, because I can't go home anymore. Not really. I mean, I physically can, the locks haven't been changed, but the home I had doesn't exist anymore and it's my fault. Let me back. 6 months ago I had everything. A husband who looked at me like I hung the moon. 2 kids, 7 and 9. Who still thought I was the center of their universe. A house with a mortgage we could actually afford. Sunday dinners with his family where everyone laughed and his mom always saved me the corner piece of her famous lasagna. I ruined all of it in the most pathetic way possible. It started so small. That's what I keep coming back to. How something so microscopic, so insignificant could detonate my entire. My husband Mark's brother died 3 years ago. Car accident. Sudden, brutal, senseless. His widow Amy was shattered. We all were, but Amy most of all. She had 2 little kids, same ages as ours. Mark and I stepped. We had them over constantly. Playdates, sleepovers, holidays. Amy became like a sister to me. Or so I thought. Mark was incredible through all of it. Patient with Amy's grief. Present for her kids. He'd go over and fix things in her house. Help with yard work. Take her son to soccer practice when she couldn't handle it. I was proud of him. I told everyone how amazing my husband was, how he showed for family. The thing is, I started noticing things. Little things that my brain tried to dismiss but my gut wouldn't let go. The way Amy's face lit when Mark walked in. How she'd text him instead of me. Even about things that had nothing to do with him. The inside jokes I wasn't part of. How she'd touch his arm when she laughed, let her hand linger just a second too long. I told I was being paranoid. She was grieving. Mark was helping. I was a terrible person for even thinking something was off. But then came the night that broke me. We were hosting Thanksgiving. Everyone was there. Mark's parents, his sister, Amy and her kids. Our kids running around like maniacs. I was in the kitchen basting the turkey when I heard Amy laughing in the dining room. That laugh. The one she used to have with her husband. The one I hadn't heard in 3 years. I walked in and saw them. Mark and Amy. Standing close. Too close. He was showing her something on his phone and she was leaning into him. Her hand on his back. Both of them smiling like they were in their own private world. Something cold dropped through my chest. I went back to the kitchen, finished the turkey, served dinner, smiled, laughed at Mark's dad's terrible jokes, helped the kids make a blanket fort. Acted completely normal while my mind was screaming. That night after everyone left and the kids were asleep, I did something I'd never done before. I waited until Mark was in the shower, heard and I looked at his phone. I almost didn't find anything, almost closed it and felt ashamed of for looking. But then I saw a messaging app I didn't recognize. One of those encrypted ones, and my hands were shaking so hard I could barely enter his passcode. The messages went back 8 months. Months. They weren't having an affair. Not physically. I genuinely don't think they'd crossed that line. But God, in some ways this was worse. They were in love. Message after message of emotional intimacy I thought belonged to me. Good morning texts. Late night conversations about dreams and fears and childhood memories. Amy sending him songs that reminded her of him. Mark telling her she was the strongest person he knew. Her saying he was her light in the darkness. Him calling her beautiful. Her saying she didn't know how she'd survive without him. And the gut punch that made me drop the phone. I keep imagining what would be like if circumstances were different. If we're free and I wasn't his widow. Is that terrible of me? Mark's response. I imagine it too. All the time. I sat on our bathroom floor until Mark found me. He knew immediately. Maybe he saw it in my face. Maybe he'd been waiting for this moment, dreading it. He didn't deny anything. He just cried. Said he never meant for it to happen. That it started as grief counseling and morphed into something he couldn't control. That he loved me, loved our kids, never wanted to anyone. That he and Amy had both agreed they'd never act on it, never destroy 2 families. I asked him the question that was burning through my skull to love her. He couldn't answer. That silence told me everything. I told him to get out. He's been staying with a friend. The kids think he's on a work trip. We have a custody mediation scheduled for next week. But here's the part that's destroying me, the part that makes me want to crawl out of my own skin. Everyone thinks I'm the villain. Mark's family knows now. I told Mark's parents because I needed someone to understand, needed someone to see that I wasn't crazy for ending my marriage over just messages. His mother looked at me like I was a stranger. They haven't even done anything, she said. Amy's vulnerable. Mark was just being kind, or punishing grief. His sister called me cruel, said I was abandoning Mark when he made one mistake. That marriage means forgiveness. Our mutual friends are taking sides. Most are taking his, because Mark's the good guy. Mark's the one who stepped after tragedy. I'm the one throwing away a marriage over text messages. I'm the cold one, the unforgiving one. Even my own mother asked if I was sure I wanted to. My family, over this. No one sees what I saw, that my husband was building a whole emotional marriage with another woman. That I love. He said to me for 8 months was a lie because he was saying it to her too. That he was planning a fantasy future with her while putting our kids to bed. I showed his parents some of the messages. They got quiet. But then his dad said, "This is what happens when Snoop. Some stones are better left unturned. Amy's playing the victim now." Sent me a long message saying she never meant to me. That she was lost in grief and Mark was her lifeline. That she feels horrible. But nowhere in that message did she say she'd stop talking to him. Nowhere did she take actual responsibility. And Mark, God, Mark keeps calling. Begging, saying he'll contact with Amy. Go to therapy. Do anything. He says he chose wrong, that his feelings for Amy were just misplaced grief, that I'm his wife and he wants his family back. But when I asked him point blank if he was in love with her, he said, "I don't know anymore." No, I don't know. My kids are asking why daddy isn't home. Why I cry in the bathroom. Why we're not seeing Aunt Amy anymore. I don't have answers that won't destroy their innocence. My daughter asked me yesterday if I still love Daddy. I said yes because I didn't know what else to say. But the truth is I don't know if I do. I don't know if I ever really knew him at all. I went to our bedroom today to pack some of Mark's things since he's asking for more clothes. I found a card in his nightstand drawer. Never given. The front said, to someone special. Inside in Amy's handwriting, thank for seeing me when I felt invisible. Gave me a reason to keep going. I'll always be grateful for. It was dated 2 months ago. 2 months ago we were planning our summer vacation. 2 months ago he told me I was the love of his. I don't sleep anymore. I've lost 12 pounds. I look in the mirror and see someone I don't recognize. Someone everyone thinks is overreacting. Someone who destroyed a family over messages. But they weren't just messages. They were a whole other relationship. A whole other version of my husband that he gave to someone else. And the worst part, the part that makes me physically sick, is that I keep wondering if I'm wrong. If everyone else is right. If I should have just ignored it, pretended I never saw, kept our family intact. Because now everything's broken and there's no putting it back together. My 7-year-old asked me this morning when things would go back to normal. I realized I don't think there is a normal to go back to. It's been 6 weeks since I found the messages. 6 weeks since my world imploded. I'm still in that hotel room most nights. Even though I'm the one paying the mortgage on a house I can't stand to be in. The custody mediation was 3 days ago. I thought I was prepared. I wasn't. Mark showed with Amy. Not as his lawyer. Not even officially. She just came, for moral support, and sat in the waiting room. But I could see them through the glass door. Her hand on his knee. Him looking at her like she was oxygen. The mediator had to call his name twice because he was so focused on whatever she was whispering to him. I wanted to scream. I wanted to flip the table. Instead, I sat there and negotiated weekends with my own children like we were discussing a business merger. Mark's lawyer kept emphasizing his exemplary parenting record, how involved he is, how the children adore him. All true, all things I used to brag about. Now they're weapons being used against me. My lawyer tried to bring the emotional affair. It irrelevant to parenting capacity. The mediator agreed. Apparently falling in love with your dead brother's widow while married doesn't make a bad father. Just a bad husband. We got fitty custody. Decision making. Exactly what Mark wanted. I signed the papers and watched my children get split into a spreadsheet. Week A, Week B, holidays divided like assets. Summer vacation calculated in precise increments. When I got to my car, I sobbed so hard in the parking lot. But that's not even the worst part of these 6 weeks. The worst part is watching everyone move on like nothing happened. Mark's parents invited him and the kids to Sunday dinner last week. Without me it was too awkward to have us both there, Mark's mom said. They'd alternate, this week me, next week him, except Amy was at his dinner. I know because my 9-year-old told me. Aunt Amy made her special brownies. She said like it was the most normal thing in the world. The ones with the caramel inside. Daddy said they were better than Grandma's and Grandma pretended to be mad but she was laughing. I had to excuse to again. My daughter didn't understand why I was upset. In her world, Aunt Amy is still Aunt Amy, still safe, still family. She doesn't know that Aunt Amy spent 8 months emotionally dismantling her parents' marriage. And I can't tell her. That's the special kind of I'm living in. I can't protect my children from the woman who helped destroy their family because doing so would destroy them in a different way. Mark is still texting Amy. I know this because he's gotten sloppy. Last week when he picked the kids, his phone was sitting on the passenger seat screen. I saw her name. A heart emoji next to it now. He didn't even try to hide it. When I confronted him, do you know what he said? We're friends. Her brother-in-law just left her sister. She needs support. The audacity. The absolute audacity. I told him he was delusional if he thought friendship was what they had. He said I was bitter and vindictive, that I was punishing him for being a good person. That maybe if I'd been more understanding, more supportive of what he was going through, none of this would have happened. He actually said that. Blamed me for not being understanding enough while he fell in love with someone else. I slapped him. First time I've ever hit anyone in my hand connected with his face and the sound echoed in my driveway and I felt absolutely nothing. Just this vast, empty nothing. He left without another word, didn't even touch his cheek. 2 days later, I got a call from his lawyer. Mark is considering filing for a restraining order, claiming I'm unstable, violent, a danger to the children. I laughed when his lawyer said that. Actually laughed, because of course this is where we are. I'm the dangerous one. Not the man who systematically betrayed his wife for 8 months. Not the woman who encouraged it. Me, the one who reacted like any sane person would. My lawyer says that I've given them ammunition, that I need to be perfect from here on out. Robot level calm, no emotions, no reactions, just a cooperative co-parent who smiles and nods and hands over her children every other week. I'm losing trying to be that person. Work is falling apart. I'm a project manager for a marketing firm I got demoted last week after missing 3 major deadlines. My boss pulled me aside, said she understood I was going through something, but the clients were complaining. I'm now doing entry-level work. The interns are handling projects I used to lead. I saw one of them looking at me yesterday with this mixture of pity and fear. Like I'm a cautionary tale. Like they're thinking, that could be me someday. They're right to think it. My friends have mostly disappeared. The mutual ones sided with Mark because, like I said, Mark is likable. Mark is helpful. Mark volunteers at the school. Mark coaches soccer. I'm just the wife who couldn't forgive. My best friend Sarah lasted the longest. She listened. She said all the right things. But last week she told me I needed to start healing and let go of the anger. I asked her how. How to let go of anger when your husband is parading his emotional affair partner in front of your children. When his family treats like the problem. When paying for a house can't live in so your kids have stability while he gets to play happy family with the woman he loves. She didn't have an answer. Just said maybe I should talk to someone. A therapist, get on medication, something, like I'm the one who's broken. Maybe I am, maybe everyone's right. Maybe I'm making this bigger than it needs to be. Maybe emotional affairs don't count. Maybe I should have just ignored it and saved my family. But then I remember the messages. I imagine it too, all the time. I remember my husband admitting he didn't know if he was in love with her. I remember 8 months of lies. 8 months of him coming home to me after spending all day texting her. 8 months of, I love. That meant nothing because he was saying it to both of us. And I know I'm not crazy. I know I'm not wrong. But knowing doesn't help. Because wrong or right, I'm still alone. I'm still the villain in everyone else's story. My daughter came home from Mark's house yesterday wearing a bracelet Amy made for her. One of those friendship bracelets with beads that spell out a name. It said Emma, in pink and purple beads. My daughter's name. Aunt Amy said we're gonna make one for Daddy next, she told me smiling. So innocent, so oblivious I wanted to rip it off her wrist. Instead I said it was pretty and asked what she wanted for dinner. That night, after she was asleep. I went into her room and looked at that bracelet on her nightstand. This little woven thing that probably took Amy 10 minutes to make. This tiny claim on my daughter's affection. I picked it, thought about throwing it away burning it. I put it back, because I can't be that person. I can't punish my children for my rage. But God, I wanted to. I've started driving past Amy's house at night, not every night, just sometimes. When the insomnia gets bad and the hotel room walls close in, I don't know what I'm looking for. Proof maybe, confirmation that I'm not insane. Last week I saw Mark's car in her driveway 11 p.m. on a Wednesday. I sat there for 45 minutes, watched the lights in her living room. Saw shadows moving past the windows. 2 shadows, close together. He left at midnight. I watched him walk to his car. He was smiling. Actually smiling. I thought about confronting him. Thought about knocking on Amy's door. Thought about taking pictures and sending them to his parents, to our friends, to anyone who might finally see what I seed. I drove away instead. Went back to the hotel, stared at the ceiling until my alarm went off. My lawyer says I can't mention the affair in custody discussions, that it's not relevant, that judges don't care about infidelity unless it directly impacts the children. So I have to watch my husband fall deeper in love with another woman and pretend it doesn't matter. Have to smile when he picks our kids. Have to co-parent with someone who's actively replacing me. Mark asked if we could meet for coffee last week. To talk, really talk. I agreed because some pathetic part of me still hoped he'd say he made a mistake. That he wanted to fix things. That he chose us. He wanted to discuss Thanksgiving. Apparently his parents are hosting again this year. They want both families there. Me, him, the kids, Amy and her kids, everyone together. For the kids' sake. So they can have own normal holiday. I told him absolutely not. Told him I wouldn't sit across from the woman he's in love with and pretend to be grateful. He said I was being selfish. That our children deserve to have their family together. That I'm the one making things difficult. I my coffee at him. Not the cup, just the coffee. It was lukewarm, didn't even him. Just left a stain on his shirt. He looked at me like I was a stranger. Like he couldn't believe he ever loved someone so unhinged. Maybe he's right. Maybe I am unhinged. I used to be fun. I used to laugh. I used to plan elaborate birthday parties and sing off key in the car and dance in the kitchen while cooking dinner. Now I'm this hollow, angry thing that scares her own children. My son asked me yesterday why I'm always sad. He's 7 years old and he's learned to recognize the weight of depression in his mother's face. I told him I wasn't sad, I was tired. He said, that's what Daddy says about that tired. I asked what else Daddy says. That need time. And that it's okay to be confused. Confused. Like I'm the one who doesn't understand what's happening. Like I'm having some kind of breakdown instead of the perfectly reasonable response to my being destroyed. I'm not confused. I see everything clear. I see a husband who chose someone else but won't let me go. A family that values keeping appearances over my pain. Friends who are exhausted by my inability to move on. Children who are learning that betrayal is normal, that forgive people who, that some lies don't count. I see a future where Mark and Amy eventually stop pretending. Where they get together officially. Where my children go to their wedding because enough time has passed and everyone's moved on. Where I'm the bitter ex-wife who couldn't let go. The cautionary tale. The woman who destroyed her own family by refusing to forgive. And the sickest part, I think about forgiving him. Late at night alone in this hotel room, I think about calling him. Telling him to come home. That we can try therapy. That I'll learn to live with what happened. Because being the villain is so exhausting. Being alone is so exhausting. But then I remember, I imagine it too. I remember the heart emoji. I remember my daughter's bracelet. I remember his smile at midnight leaving Amy's house. And I know forgiveness wouldn't change anything. He'd still love her. He'd just hide it better. I'm trapped in a where everyone gets what they want except me. Mark gets sympathy. Amy gets support. His family gets their comfortable denial. Our children get both parents. And I get to watch it all happen while pretending I'm fine. The mediator asked me last week what I wanted. What outcome would make me happy? I didn't have an answer. Because what I want is impossible. I want to go back to before. Before I looked at his phone. Before I knew. When I was still enough to think my marriage was real. But can't unknow things. Can't unsee the messages. Can't unfeel the betrayal. So instead I'm here. In this hotel room. Paying for a house I don't live in. Sharing custody of children who are learning to love the woman who destroyed their mother. My lawyer says the divorce should be final in 4 months. 4 months until I'm officially alone. 4 months until Mark is free to be with Amy without hiding. 4 months until everyone can stop pretending this wasn't what they wanted all along. I thought finding out would be the worst part. I was so wrong. I thought I had a perfect marriage, until I found love messages between my husband and my sister-in-law. Part 3. The divorce was finalized 3 weeks ago. I didn't go to the courthouse. My lawyer handled everything. She called me afterward, said it went smoothly. Asked if I was okay. I said yes because that's what people expect. The truth is I haven't been okay since the moment I opened Mark's phone 4 months ago. And I'm starting to realize I might never be okay again. Mark moved in with Amy 2 days after the papers were signed. Not officially. He still has his apartment. Still lists that as his address. But his car is in her driveway every night. The kids mentioned his toothbrush in her bathroom. His favorite coffee mug in her kitchen. They're not even trying to hide it anymore. My son came home last week talking about a movie night at Daddy's place. Described Amy's living room in detail. How they all watched a movie together, the 4 kids piled on the couch, Mark and Amy in the armchairs on either side. Like a real family, he said. I had to leave the room. Thanksgiving was last week. I didn't go to Mark's parents' house. Spent it with my mom instead. She made turkey. It was dry. We ate in silence while my kids were at the family dinner. I wasn't invited to. My daughter called me that night. She was crying. Said she missed me. That Thanksgiving wasn't the same without me. Then I heard Amy's voice in the background. Sweetie, let mommy rest. She's probably busy. Like I had anything better to do than be with my children on Thanksgiving. I wanted to scream into the phone. Instead I told my daughter I loved her and hung. I found out later that Mark announced their relationship at dinner. Officially. Told everyone he and Amy were together now. That they'd found comfort in each other during a difficult time. His mother called me the next day. Not to apologize. Not to acknowledge that I'd been right all along. Just to tell me she hoped I could be mature about this. And not make things harder for the children. I hung on her. Then I got a text from Mark's sister. Got what wanted. Destroyed his marriage and now he's happy anyway. Hope her satisfied. I blocked her number, but the message stayed with me, because that's what they all think, that I destroyed the marriage by finding out. By refusing to ignore it. By having the audacity to be. Not Mark, who fell in love with someone else. Not Amy, who encouraged it me. The one who wouldn't play along. Work is gone. They let me go 2 weeks ago. Restructuring. But I know the truth. I've been useless for months. Missing deadlines. Forgetting meetings. Crying in the bathroom. They were kind enough to call it a layoff. Gave me severance. 3 months of pay to figure out I'm not gonna figure it out. Not in 3 months. Maybe not ever. The hotel kicked me out last week. Not officially. But the manager pulled me aside, said other guests were complaining. Apparently I cry too loud at night. The walls are thin. People could hear. I'm back in the house now. The one I share with the ghosts of my old. Mark's coffee mug still in the cabinet. His books on the shelf. Pictures of us on the walls that I can't bring to take down because doing so would make it real. It's already real, I know that. But the pictures let me pretend sometimes. Late at night when the insomnia is bad. I can look at them and remember when I thought I knew who I was married to. My kids are different now. I can see it in their eyes. They're learning to navigate 2 homes, 2 versions of family. They're getting good at it. Too good. My daughter asked me last week if Amy could come to her birthday party. Daddy said he can't come if Amy can't come. And Daddy has to be there, Mom. The emotional was so casual. So normalized. My 9-year-old daughter has learned to negotiate her father's girlfriend's attendance at family events. I said yes because what else could I say? No and be the villain who kept Daddy away. No and watch my daughter blame me for ruining her birthday. So Amy came, showed with a present bigger than mine. A bike, pink with streamers and a bell. The kind I couldn't afford after losing my job. My daughter squealed, hugged Amy, called her the best. Mark stood there smiling, so proud. Like he'd personally selected the gift instead of probably just paying for whatever Amy picked out. I the cake with hands that shook. Sang happy birthday with a smile that, watched my daughter out candles while sitting between her father and the woman he loves more than he ever loved me. The other parents at the party kept giving me these looks. Pity mixed with curiosity. Everyone in our school district knows now. The divorced woman whose husband left her for his brother's widow. It's basically a Lifetime movie. I'm basically a character people discuss over. One of the moms cornered me by the snack table. "Are so strong," she said. I don't know how to do it. I wanted to tell her I'm not strong. I'm disintegrating. I take sleeping every night and they barely work. I've lost 22 pounds. I haven't been to the dentist in 6 months, because I can't handle one more appointment, one more person asking if I'm okay. I'm not doing it, it's doing me. Instead, I said thank and excused to the bathroom, locked the door, stared at in the mirror until someone knocked. That was 3 days ago. I haven't left the house since. Haven't showered. Haven't eaten anything except crackers. The kids are at Mark's until Sunday. I have 4 days alone in this house and I can't do anything except sit here. I tried to watch TV. Couldn't focus. Tried to read. The words swam. Tried to clean. Got as far as picking a dish and then stood there holding it for 20 minutes. I think I'm broken. Actually fundamentally broken. My therapist says I'm depressed. Prescribed medication. I haven't filled it. Haven't gone back to therapy. Can't afford it now anyway without the job. Can't afford much of anything. The house is going on the market in January. Mark's lawyers made sure I got it in the divorce, but I can't keep the payments on my own. So I'll sell it. Split the profit with Mark. Use my half to rent some apartment where my kids will have to share a room. While Mark builds it with Amy in her house. The one his brother bought. The one my kids are already calling their other home. I saw them together last week, Mark and Amy. It was an accident. I was driving past the grocery store and there they were in the parking lot, loading bags into his car. She said something. He laughed, put his arm around her. It was such a casual gesture. So comfortable, so easy. He never touched me like that, even in the beginning. Even when things were good, I realized I was parked, just sitting there watching them. Some stranger knocked on my window, asked if I was alright. I drove away. But I can't stop thinking about that moment, the ease of it, the way he looked at her. He loves her. Really, truly loves her in a way he never loved me. I was convenient, comfortable, the person who was there. Amy is the person he chooses, even with all the complications, even with the guilt, even knowing it destroys me. That's what I can't get past. He knows what this is doing to me. Sees it every time he picks the kids and I look like a skeleton. Hears it from our daughter who asks why mommy cries so much. Knows I lost my job, knows I'm selling the house. And he doesn't care enough to stop. That's the part that's me. Not that he loves her, but that his love for her matters more than my destruction. I thought about ending things last week. Really thought about it. Sat in the garage with the car running. The kids were at Mark's. Hurt no one would have found me for days. But then my phone buzzed. Text from my daughter. Love mom. Can't wait to see Sunday. I turned the car off. Went inside. Haven't gone back to the garage since. But I think about it. When the nights get bad. When I can't stop seeing them together. When I imagine the future. Mark and Amy getting married. My kids in the wedding. Me getting an invitation out of obligation. Growing old alone while they grow old together. Watching my children love her. Watching holidays and birthdays and graduations where I'm the awkward ex-wife in the corner and she's the woman who fits. My son told me yesterday that Amy taught him to make pancakes. He was so excited. The kind with chocolate chips, mom. She said we can make them whenever I want. I used to make him pancakes. Every Saturday morning. It was our thing, it's her thing now. Everything that was mine is becoming hers. My husband, my in-laws, my traditions, my children's affection. She gets thy built. And I get to watch from the outside. People keep telling me it gets better. That time heals. That one day I'll move on. Meet someone new. Be happy again. They're lying. Or maybe they believe it. But I know the truth. Some betrayals don't heal. Some losses don't get better. Sometimes just learn to carry the weight. Learn to function despite it. Learn to smile when your children need to smile. But never stop. I'll never trust anyone again. Never believe someone when they say they love me. Never build a without wondering when it will be taken away. Mark destroyed something fundamental in me. Amy helped. And everyone else just watched. The worst part is nobody thinks they did anything wrong. Mark thinks he found real love. Amy thinks she deserves happiness after losing her husband. His family thinks they're being supportive. Our friends think time was all it took to make it okay. No one sees the carnage. No one counts the cost. Except me. I'm the only one who lost everything: job, home, family, identity. The person I was before I looked at that phone doesn't exist anymore. And for what? Because I refused to ignore betrayal. Because I had standards. Because I thought marriage vows meant something. I've become a cautionary tale. But not the way I thought. I'm not the warning about cheating. I'm the warning about what happens when refuse to forgive it. When you're difficult. When make waves. When don't just accept that sometimes people fall in love with someone else and everyone has to accommodate it. I should have been smarter. Should have seen it coming. Should have looked at my husband volunteering to help his brother's widow and realized what I was setting. But I trusted him. Trusted his family. Trusted that marriage meant something. Trusted that 10 years and 2 children and a lifetime of promises mattered more than 8 months of secret messages. I was wrong about all of it. My daughter asked me this morning if I daddy. I told her no. I don't him. I what he did. I who he became. I that he looked at our together and decided it wasn't enough. I that he found his happiness in my destruction. I that everyone forgave him and blamed me. But no. Can't someone who never existed. And the Mark I married, the Mark I loved, the Mark I thought I knew. That person was never real. I don't know what happens next. I don't know how to rebuild from nothing. Don't know how to be a person again when personhood got stripped away piece by piece over 4 months. All I know is I'll sell this house. I'll find some apartment. I'll share custody and smile at birthday parties and pretend it doesn't me every single time. I'll watch my children grow calling someone else's house home. Watch them love the woman who destroyed their mother. Watch my ex-husband build the he wanted while I figure out how to survive in the ruins of mine. And one day, when my daughter is older, she'll ask me why I left daddy. Because that's how it will be framed. I left. I gave. I couldn't forgive. Not that he fell in love with someone else. Not that he betrayed me for 8 months. Not that he chose her over us. That I couldn't get over it. And maybe she'll understand. Maybe by then she'll be old enough to see what really happened. Or maybe she'll look at me the way everyone else does. The bitter ex-wife who destroyed her own family because she couldn't let go. Either way, I'll be alone. That's my forever now. The divorce papers say I'm single. The bank statements say I'm broke. The mirror says I'm a shell. But the worst truth lives in my head. In the 2M thoughts I can't escape, I destroyed my by refusing to ignore his betrayal. And everyone thinks that makes me the villain. I trusted love. Heard and love taught me that sometimes the person who breaks gets to walk away whole while spend the rest of your trying to remember what it felt like to be unbroken.